Press Start Podcast.
And welcome back to the Press Start Podcast. I'm your host, Vic, aka Mr. Never Chill, and this is episode number 130. And this week, I do welcome back my co-host, Roger, aka Lunatic Oblivion.
Hey guys, how you doing today?
What
It's
is
been a while.
happening? Yeah, man, it's been like 4 weeks, I think, since you've been on a show. We canceled a few, you missed a few, combination. And as everyone we could see, no Scott this week. He's actually on his honeymoon. I had completely forgotten. We actually talked about it on last week's episode. So, there goes me. Life's pretty chaotic at times, But hey, welcome Marshmallow. Oh, this guy. He's starting off the episode early here. But Roger, man, let's just dive right into your long list of games you've been playing over the last 4 weeks. You have been a busy gamer.
I think I missed some too.
You
so
probably did, like you always do. You're
I
that one.
slapped Final Fantasy VII on there, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that.
Jeez. So man, go ahead and talk about whichever game you want to talk about first, and then I'll throw in some of mine.
Sure. Let's talk about the 2 seasons that I'm actually doing battle passes for. So I did Diablo 4 this season, which is season 4, The Construct, and then I also did Halo, which is currently the Yappening. Honestly, I gotta say, Halo has been getting harder, dude. Like, it feels so much sweatier every time I load into a game.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some sense of skill-based matchmaking, and obviously the more you play, the better you're getting, the better lobbies you're getting matched up with too.
Yeah, I saw my casual your experience rank for just playing games is at gold, and I was like, shit, this game all of a sudden got difficult. Why? What's going on here? But no, it's honestly, I'm trying to pound out Diablo's Season of the Construct, and then I want to go finish Halo's Yappening before next week we get the new season for Halo, which is just another 4 week mini series, which is nice. I honestly love these short battle passes.
Yeah, they're definitely more enjoyable, more achievable, and I mean Halo has already done it right from just you can go back to older battle passes if you want to as well, which I know I have, and I know Marshmallow here in the chat has gone back and pretty much done almost all of them. So that's really awesome there. I actually haven't played Halo in the last week or so, so I'm really excited to play tonight after the show with everyone. But one multiplayer game that I have been playing is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. And, Call of Duty has been in our life for 17 years, give or take, if not more. Like competitive multiplayer, 2007, I think COD 4 dropped, and that just feeling that Call of Duty gives you, the adrenaline rush, and just the intense combat and the smooth gameplay is just, it keeps bringing me back no matter what. Even if I'm playing for 1 match, 3 matches, like I just literally hop in, and it's been great. And obviously I made a post the other day on social media with my daughter. Me and her were both playing a game. I put the headset on her, she was playing. As I was playing, I gave her her own controller, and she's smashing the buttons and stuff. So I can't wait to play games whenever she gets older. But yeah, Call of Duty it just never loses its feel. Call of Duty just feels like Call of Duty at all times, no matter how bad the game is overall. It's just Call of Duty is Call of Duty. And it's just been fun just to hop in for a few matches and then just hop out, just burn some time. But game I want to talk about here on the list, because I didn't get to talk about this with you last week because you weren't here on the show, is Pokemon Heart Gold. Just revisiting this because I'm playing this via the Delta emulator that's on the iOS devices now, since Apple opened their app store to allow emulation now. And it's been great, dude, because I talked about it last week. Pokemon Heart Gold is almost impossible to get because it's either not available, or if it is, it's like $150 because there wasn't enough copies created. So playing
Our cousin actually gave me his copy of Heart Gold.
Oh, really?
And I have it just sitting over there right now.
Damn. Yeah, so I've been enjoying it, and it's been a hell of a great experience on the phone, and it looks beautiful. You could swap out different skins for your because when you're playing it on the emulator, it actually looks like a DS or like a Game Boy and stuff, and it's been great. It's been hella great. And I've never played Heart Gold or Soul Silver. I played obviously the OGs back in the day, like regular Silver. But this has been a really enjoyable experience playing. I'm just glad that I'm finally able to play this game and not have to worry about paying $150 for a game that I don't think is worth $150 ever,
Yeah.
But let's talk about another game that I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts about on your list here is Evil West. This is a game that I recently played through and beat, and now it's on your list of playing through. What's your thoughts on the game?
I don't like it. Honestly, I found it pretty boring.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually surprised, man. Because I think you weren't on the show when I was actually talking about when I was playing through it. I was like,
Hmm.
this is really fun because like it's not an open world game. It is very much a very linear game, and it's like
Hmm.
straight to the point. And like at first I was like, man, there's a lot of mechanics. It seems overwhelming. But once you got into a nice rhythm and understood like how to balance your weapons, when to use it, how to kill each enemy effectively, like the game became butterly, like really smooth. I mean, the story was the premise was very simple. Like the game felt it didn't do anything for the genre. It didn't do something like over the top. It wasn't Game of the Year worthy, but I think I gave it a 7 out of 10 because it was a solid game. I literally had no issues playing it. Like there was
Hmm.
nothing wrong with it. It just didn't do anything special. But it was nice to finally play a game that just wasn't that long, wasn't that big, wasn't overwhelming. There wasn't like a shit ton of side quests. There wasn't really anything extra to do. It was like straightforward. Here's a story. This is what you got to do. Let's do it.
Hit the ground running.
Yeah, and that's it. And so I don't know how far you're into the game, but to me, it ended up being a really fun time.
Yeah, honestly, I dropped it for right now. It didn't feel like it could occupy the same time because with my gaming, it has to be kind of like I have to choose what the best games are, and
Yeah,
honestly, it really wasn't it.
yeah. Well, shout out to Game Pass because it allows you to dive into games like this, give them a go. If it ain't it, drop them, pick them back up later. So
Hmm.
that's good.
Exactly.
Because interesting enough, one game that I did check out here on my list is Brotato. I'm not sure if you played this at all. It's on Game Pass, but it's basically like Vampire
Hmm.
Survivors, but you're playing as a fucking potato, and there's like different guns and melee and items and shit. But it's a much smaller scale thing. Like it's not like a endless procedurally generated like level.
Yeah.
It actually has borders. Like you can reach the end of the map pretty easily. It's not that big. It's like literally like a smaller scale game. And the only reason I was really hopping into this because like Xbox does like the quest to unlock points to then you can swap
Hmm.
out the points for gift cards and shit. And like one of the quests is every day is either play a Game Pass game or get an achievement from a Game Pass game. And Brotato's ones are you just fucking you blink and you fucking get an achievement in the game, and they're usually like one gamer score. It's so hilarious, and it's just like
Hmm.
easy, just racking up the points, and I'm getting close to another $10 Xbox gift card. So it's awesome.
Makes it easy.
Yeah, yeah. Another one I want to talk about here on your list was Botany Manor, game that I recently beat as well. I think you also beat this one. I wanted to hear about your experience. Did you really enjoy this one at all?
I honestly thought this was a really good game. I did have an issue where one of the achievements for the game, I got locked out of being able to complete it, and it kind of got me really upset that like I just couldn't get an achievement now.
Which one was that?
The SOS achievement.
Oh yeah, yeah, with
Hmm.
the teleprompter. Yeah. So yeah, that one was pretty cool. It was a very interesting game because like the puzzles were like not really straightforward at times. There was some of them that I
Hmm.
got hung up on, and I actually got to the point where I just threw on like a little guide that I could just read through real quick on certain things to skip through because I wanted to beat it in one sitting, and I know it would probably take me a lot longer if I literally had to just piece this shit together. And then I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure I matched up all the clues with all the plants, even though you didn't have to. Like you can grow the plant without even finding all the clues at certain
Yeah.
times. Um, but yeah, overall, it was a really enjoyable experience. I don't think I've ever played a game like that. Like the puzzles were different. And it's interesting
Hmm.
comes at a time because like Lauren has really just got into like gardening and stuff like that. Like we literally just got shit ton of pots and plants and different vegetables that we're going to be growing. And obviously you were talking about in the pre-show that you're not going to be around tomorrow for the game club talk because you're going to be gardening tomorrow. So
Yeah. I'm putting a new flower bed outside, and I was like, oh.
hell yeah, dude. And because it's crazy. We were talking about inflation beforehand because I was thinking about it now. I was like, it's crazy now that inflation is starting to hit us so hard that you actually want to become your own farmer. Like it's becoming that bad, but here nor there.
Hmm.
um, and then last game here on my list, I wanted to talk about actually the only game, last game on my list, period, is Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. This is my current game that I'm on streaming through. I'm almost done. I'm on chapter 8 out of 10. So hopefully I do beat that. Probably in the next stream, I think. I never played this one. I beat the first one like a long time ago, and this
Hmm.
was available on Game Pass. And I was just looking for another game that I could beat. I was looking for like a 10-hour experience, something I can get through. It doesn't take too long. If I stream for an
Hmm.
hour and a half, I beat that in like what couple of streams and I'm good. Um, and it's actually been a really enjoyable experience. It's just like you could tell it's an outdated game at
Hmm.
times. It can run a little clunky. The gunplay is very weird. Like it just feels like it's not locking on to anything. Period.
Hmm.
And it feels weird. Stories like the side content, It's just like an okay game as of right now. But may, I think it might be time to reboot that franchise and breathe new life, more modern day tech into that game because that Wolfenstein's been around for a long time.
A long time.
Yeah, so like they could do whatever they want with this, and the game will always be good. It'll appeal to older guys. It'll appeal to the younger generations. I think this game, the franchise could go somewhere. Just this one's not the best as of right now. Did you play Wolfenstein one
I've
or
never
two?
played Wolfenstein.
It's on Game Pass. Quick experience. So if you ever wanted to dive in, I recommend at least give it a go and just see what your thoughts are on that. But any other game that you wanted to talk about here on your list?
Honestly, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth we can talk about. It's been a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I honestly was surprised at how well it plays. It was
Mm-hmm.
just really well designed.
Okay.
And I honestly, let's see what else here we got. Content warning.
Oh
So have
yeah.
you played content warning yet?
I have not played it, but I've watched. There's a bunch of guys on Shoot to Win that have been making content. It's on our YouTube channel, and they have been doing some stupid fucking shit in that
It's
game.
such a fun game. Honestly, I just was not expecting it to play as just fun and as well as it does.
Right. It's like Phasmophobia, but like a different take to it because like you're
Hmm.
recording content for like YouTube in the game. So
Hmm.
that's been a very interesting game. I mean, there's a lot of like this is a perfect game for content creator. Like you can do endless amount of content, like goofy shit, funny shit, whatever you want to do in it. But no, I have not played it yet. Maybe one day.
One day,
Probably
some
not, to
point,
be honest.
whenever.
Just to be fair, probably not. That's being honest there. But any other ones though before we move on?
Honestly, for any other ones, no, I think honestly that about covers my whole list for me.
Actually, no. Your second game on the list, Fallout. Which one are you playing?
Fallout.
Oh, you're playing the OG Fallout.
Fallout.
Okay.
I am playing Fallout.
You're playing the game out of all the Fallout, you're playing the game that no one's probably really playing right now. Because Fallout as a franchise has broken 5 million players over the past like few weeks due to the show and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But everyone's like, man, they should probably remake Fallout 1 and 2, but as like how all the other ones are made, like the first person perspective, because I know like Fallout 1 and 2 is not, that's like over like top down experience, right?
Yeah, it's it's a CRPG or like it's a tactical RPG. So you go around the map, you fight like you do Baldur's Gate or any of the other games. It's just it's one of those OG just RPG systems, and it's based on a RPG like dice roll system. So it's
Hmm.
like based off of D&D. Like it's
Yeah.
Fallout, but it's D&D at the same time. And I'm just like, this is actually so well designed. I didn't expect it to be so well thought out and just like it just felt good. Everything about it.
Yeah. Yeah, Fallout's booming, man. Like that show has done numbers and it has revitalized
Yes.
that whole franchise, like the game. And now it's like Xbox needs to figure out like how do we streamline this? How can we get
Hmm.
another Fallout game in the mix? Because if Bethesda's going to work on Fallout 5, we're not getting that for God knows when. Because they're
Hmm.
obviously putting out content for Starfield still. They got Elder Scrolls 6 next coming out, and then it would be Fallout 5 from them. So I'm like hoping that they just pass it on to like another developer. They have a shit
Hmm.
ton of developers to choose from, and if they make like a new Vegas 2 or like a new city, like you could just do whatever. There's so much content that you could really make in a Fallout universe. Like people are
Yep.
hungry for Fallout. This is the time to capitalize on it. So hopefully they do. Maybe we see a surprise announcement at the Xbox showcase in the summer. So time will tell.
Hopefully.
But before we move on to the industry news, were there any games that are coming out that you're excited for at all over the next week or so?
Honestly, no, dude. I've been sleeping on new games. The only new game that I was excited for was this week Manor Lord came out,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up picking that up, and it feels like it's gonna be one of the big turn-based or like not turn-based, real-time strategy games in recent time. Like it does stuff that you don't expect a game to do lately.
Hmm.
Something that typically just doesn't happen in strategy games. Like it takes into account that, like, for example, if you want to make an army, you actually have to turn your soldiers, that your peasants, you recruit your peasants as a militia. if they're not if they're not farming, or if they're in the army, they're not farming. So like you have to actually give and take there, where you're just not doing things sometimes. Like, oh, do I take care of the bandits who are stealing from me, or do I, you know, or do I just keep farming? But if you're farming, or if you want to take care of the bandits, cut your farming in half, because now all the men are running off with weapons to the next province over. So
Okay.
it takes into account things you don't think about, like, your militia is also the people making food for you. So if they're not in the fields, you're gonna have less crops. So
Yeah.
like it was an interesting thought, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see where the game goes from here.
Yeah, I was obviously listening to a bunch of gaming podcasts over the last week, and a lot of people have been talking about this game. And it's pretty. They said it's a really enjoyable experience because you can play this in two
Hmm.
different ways. Like you can play this as like a traditional strategy game and just like work on building up your settlement and stuff like that. But then like you
Hmm.
can go into like I want to create an army and go attack and be aggressive the whole time. And it's like that's a different experience for like a sim builder, for a
Hmm.
strategy. So it's like you got two different ways of playing this game, or you can play like a hybrid version of it. It's like there's a lot. And just a quick stat for you, because this is going to be a post I'm putting out later this week, though, is Manor Lords has sold over 1 million copies in the first day, and it has peaked over 170,000 concurrent players on Steam.
Hmm.
These are the highest numbers ever for a strategy game. So this game is
Yeah.
clearly doing numbers this year.
Yeah, honestly, it felt like it came out of nowhere as well. Like, I was sitting there on Reddit, and they were like, Manor Lords is coming soon. And I was like, hmm. And I checked it out. I was like, man, this game looks good. Click on it. You've already wish listed this. Oh, have I now? I didn't even
And if I'm not
realize.
mistaken, it's
Cool.
available on PC Game Pass as well. So I mean, you
Hmm.
probably bought it on Steam or not, but you could play it on PC Game Pass as well. But you know
Hmm.
how that application could work.
I didn't
Just
even know I could play it on Game Pass either. I was just like, oh, bought
Yeah,
it.
because they're trying to work on the console version for it as
Hmm.
well. So hopefully we get that soon. But before we move on, I just want to highlight probably the biggest game of this week's release is Sea of Thieves is finally coming to the PS5 on
Hmm.
April 30th here in a couple of days. It was the number one like pre-ordered game. It's on the top of the charts. This game has a lot of excitement for finally coming to PlayStation. And they did recently announce that they crossed over 40 million players, and that was just with Xbox and PC. PlayStation's going to add to that, man, and PlayStation gets to come in at a perfect time because this game is like night and day
Hmm.
difference than what it was when the game first dropped, and that's when I first played it. And I really didn't really enjoy it because it was missing so much content. It seemed very, very, very bare bones, and the game has a lot of stuff to do in it now, especially with the
Hmm.
whole like you can play that like you could turn off like the PvP and just make it PvE then, so you don't have to worry about like some random ship just rolling up on you and taking your shit. Like if you, because some people that's like anxiety
Yeah.
problems, so you can't really enjoy the game because if someone's sweating that hard and fucking Sea of Thieves, it's not gonna be fun. But yeah,
Yeah, they're there to fuck your day up, and you're
yeah,
like, well, fuck, dude, what do I do here?
right. Now I gotta start over again. Like nah, yeah. So shout out to Sea of Thieves. Xbox has been booming. Actually, a funny thing, quick stat: they had 7 of the top 25 best-selling games on PlayStation were from Xbox. Crazy. So yeah, Xbox has been doing their thing, man. But without further ado, man, let's go ahead and dive into our industry news that we got for you guys this week. All right, man. I'm going to kick it off here with a interesting one because Xbox and Ubisoft are collaborating here, and they're taking on these people that have decided to sell counterfeit Assassin's Creed and Minecraft merch, and they have taken them to court. I was like, man, that shit's crazy. But it's like thinking about it, like I know so many people that like if you go to any mall and those people in there that make shirts and shit, I'm sure you can find some Minecraft and some Assassin's Creed shit in there. That's all counterfeit shit. That's not officially licensed product. So it's like
Yep.
some of these people were doing something big. And this was a complaint that was filed back on April 19th of 2023. So this has been an ongoing thing that's basically just coming to the public's eye a little bit more. So this is going to be an ongoing case, and we'll see how it goes. But they're basically charging these people for $2 million worth of damage. So I mean, for an average consumer, that's a lot of dollars, but for Microsoft and Ubisoft, that's like
Drop in the fucking bucket.
a drop in the fucking tub. You know, it ain't shit. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that goes, and see if any other court lawsuits come up for this kind of stuff. But Roger, what's going on with the rest of the gaming world?
All right, so we got Embracer Group news, and we also have Nintendo news. So first, let's start off with Embracer Group. Splitting up their studios, Embracer Group has decided that they want to split up into 3 separate companies. First, we've got Middle-earth and Friends, a AAA game development studio. Then we've got Coffee Stain and Friends, which is indie and AA, single A focused games. And then lastly, we have Asmodee, which is a tabletop game publisher. So I'm wondering what we're going to see now that they're splitting up instead of just being one monolithic structure.
Yeah, I think this could be really good for them because I know that they were actually really flooded with just like they're one of the biggest game like or publishers, whatever you want to call them, in the industry, right? And it's like sometimes having too much on your plate is hard to handle. With them splitting up now, they can. This also opens a lot of jobs too. I'm sure they're going to be hiring a shit ton of people that are going to be at that management level that can monitor these teams and then have all these teams underneath of them. And it's good, man. Like they're focusing on 3 different things too. You have AAA games, which I have been sucking a lot lately. The AA game is where it's at right now, and it's good to see one of these bigger companies start focusing on those AA projects because that's where the money's at. Like Helldivers 2 has been booming. Like that's where they got to go.
Manor Lords. We just talked about how it was one of the most purchased strategy games, and that's a single AA game.
Yep. Like that's where all the money's at right now. Indie and those AA level games. That's what we want more of. That's where that's where gaming is innovated there.
And to give you an idea here, Embracer Group is about 15,000 employees for just a game development studio. That's crazy. That is a ton of people. So they're going to be splitting off into 3 separate companies. Yeah. And then let's talk about Nintendo. So Nintendo and Gary's Mod have so Valve and Nintendo have butted heads recently. Nintendo has issued a takedown request for Gary's Mod private content because there's 20 years worth of Nintendo related workshop items that Nintendo's like, you can't have this. That's not okay. So Gary's Mod developer Facepunch Studios has asked the community to help them remove content. So it's crazy to me, man, that we're just sitting here like, oh, they weren't cool with it.
Yeah, but it's like 20 years worth of content, and now you're just like, now we don't like it because now you're starting to make money off of this, so we could be making that money and not you.
Yeah, right, Marshmallow? Nintendo is so mad, dude. They're like, we lost, so we got to get a win, boys. Where are we getting the W's?
They got to stay in the news one way or another because, like, they got no new games coming out. The Switch 2 apparently has been rumored to be delayed until next year. Like, they have nothing going on.
Nintendo's just sort of, I think we're starting to see indie take on Nintendo, and Nintendo's like, well, shit. What do? They're doing our stuff, but better. We can't keep relying on our IPs.
Yeah, imagine.
No.
Sometimes you got to innovate.
Yeah, imagine getting lazy and being butthurt that laziness is costing you.
Yeah, it's just crazy, dude. But that is all the industry news that we do have for you guys this week. So let's go ahead and move on to the meat of the podcast with our gaming news. All right, guys, kicking it off here with Xbox-related news. Real quick, though, Roger, it's crazy. I was talking to Scott, I think, last week, right? There's always Xbox news every week, but there's, like, barely any PlayStation and Nintendo news, and I literally die. Like, I literally search on all social medias for PlayStation news and Nintendo news, and I can, like, never find shit, ever. Every once in a while I do. But it's like, man, what are they doing? But nonetheless, Xbox is here, right?
Their stuff is just their big IPs lately, and honestly, I would rather know news from PlayStation than bad news.
Which has been a lot over the past 3-4 years that we've been doing this.
It's just weird. It just feels so weird that I would much rather have news one way than the other. And
the crazy, okay, my bad. It's not even on the list because it was like a leak. PlayStation's financial records for every one of their first party studios has leaked. and they were like showcasing like how much money each game has sold like the whole way back to the PS1. And it's like looking at these numbers, and like the number one game is Spider-Man, and it's only ever made like 300 and some $1 million. That's not including all the other like Spider-Man 2 or Miles Morales. And I'm like, so you're telling me like the Spider-Man 1, if they sold it all $60, which I know they didn't, they've only sold like 5 million copies of Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Like that's not really a lot of games, and then that's your number one. But I was like, man, like PlayStation just keeps getting shit hacked and leaked and all kind of shit. I'm just like,
Well,
what?
it's run of the mill. They've been that way for years and years and years. It just, what would you expect them to start now all of a sudden?
You,
Yeah, guys, we're no longer getting hacked anymore. We fixed it.
yeah, you would think, right?
Yeah, right.
But let's circle back here with Xbox news. They did announce that their next showcase, which is going to be an ID at Xbox showcase, will be actually tomorrow, April 29th. Some of the games that are going to be there are Dungeons of Hinterberg, 33 Immortals, which I'm super excited for, Lost Records, Blood and Rage, Power World will be there, and so much more. 33 Immortals, if you don't remember, that's the game that's like there's literally 33 different people that you're going to be playing cooperative experience with, and you're like going through like crazy levels, and it's like melee focus, and it kind of reminded me of like Castle Crashers in a way.
Hmm.
um, but yeah, that I'm really excited to see that some more highlights on that, and that's a Game Pass game that's going to be coming out, I believe, later this year. But I'm curious to see what Power World has to announce, because they just recently announced that the PAL Arena is coming up. So I'm
They
gonna have to.
also announced that they have a new world boss that's already live
Yeah,
to
yeah,
play
yep,
against. So like, they're doing things, and honestly, I've kind of slept on this game for a while, but I'm excited to see what they're going to showcase, and especially that they're doing it at the Microsoft showcase. Like, damn.
yeah, yeah. They're in each other's pockets. Like obviously,
Yeah.
Xbox brought it to it's only the only console it's available on is Xbox, and the fact that it came to Game Pass and it's like booming. It was, the numbers. I mean, we don't got to rehash that
Hmm.
shit again. It did its thing. Obviously, the game has died down like tremendously. Like, there's not a ton of people playing it anymore, but
It needs optimized and other
it needs more
issues. Like,
content, and but we know it's in game preview, so like
hmm,
we know like when it gets to the final stage, then it'll be different.
yeah, Minecraft was in game preview for what, 10, 15 years. So like, and look at
Right,
how big it is.
right, and it keeps getting bigger because we're actually going to be talking about that here momentarily. Um, Sad news here though, BlizzCon 2024 has been canceled. And my guess is just so they can focus in, figure out how they want to have all these different showcases now that since they're all
Let's
underneath the
be honest
Xbox.
here. BlizzCon is a shit show. It hasn't done anything for the industry in years. The best it's done for the industry in the past 10 years is give us the "do you not have phones" meme.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I
what
understand. It
else
probably
has it
hasn't done
done?
much for the industry, but it's a great community event that I know a lot of people look forward to. This is where like a lot of communities come
Hmm.
together and they can collaborate and like network and stuff like that. That's where the benefit of this one is at.
Oh
But
yeah, but it just, it really hasn't done much in a while is what I'm getting at. Like,
no, yeah.
it's
Yeah, so we'll see. They did confirm it will return in the future years, and they will be very present at all of the upcoming conventions this summer. So obviously the Xbox Showcase, Summer Games Fest with Jeff Keighley, because all the
mhm.
new announcements and whatnot. But some quick updates though in regards to Xbox's like financial report. Fiscal results came in for the fiscal year 2024 Q3. Gaming revenue is up 51%. Content and services is up 62%. The bad news here: hardware revenue is down 31%, and but they also saw overall of $61.9 billion in revenue. Obviously, most of this is accounted for because of Activision Blizzard, but
Mhm.
we can't say it's just because of it because it's part of Xbox now. It is what it is. Xbox made a very smart decision, obviously, because they just made $61.9 billion of revenue. So sounds like
Yeah.
a win for them. But hardware revenue being down 31%, like I don't expect them to. They're clearly not worried about selling any more hardware, like no consoles and stuff. As long as you
Mhm.
have Game Pass, we don't care where the fuck you play it. You're on your phone, on your computer, on the Xbox, the Rogue Ally, the Steam Deck, doesn't matter. Just play Xbox games. And then obviously, like now that they're becoming like a third party publisher almost by putting games on Xbox or PlayStation. If PlayStation has this massive player base, now they're
Mhm.
getting all of them to buy Xbox games. So it's a win for them. So let's move on here to Xbox related games. Aforementioned Minecraft. They had a surprise update because this brings out the armadillos, new wolves, and there's wolf armor and much more. And it became available now. This was already in like the beta, the preview version of like Minecraft, but it's available for all players now. So that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
And it's awesome to see an update to the wolves because you figure the wolves have been the same like the entire time they've ever been added, but now they have different skins to the wolves, and then like now you can put armor on them, and that'd be pretty badass. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't it Josh used to really like the wolves in
Mhm.
Minecraft when we played? Yeah, so I
Yeah.
wonder if he would really enjoyed this update if he ever decided to hop back in. But man, let's talk about the exciting news that we're going to be checking out later this week with Halo Infinite Banished Honor Operation. They're introducing a new part of this game called the Exchange. You can earn Spartan points by playing and unlocking vaulted and new cosmetics, so that's pretty cool. Spartan points will be acquired through gameplay such as challenges and the free battle pass tier, so that's even better. So you don't have to spend any money to get any of this stuff. The battle pass will be 20 tiers again, which is awesome instead of the 100. It makes it just more approachable as well. Because if you look at it, you're like 100 tiers. Like, I probably won't get through 100 tiers. 20? Fuck yeah. I'll get through that. No big deal. Um, but update to Forge is getting a Flood Forge palette. So you can make everything look really gross and gruesome. And I was like, that could be really badass. Like some of the content we've already seen from Forge has been really cool, but now people can make like more like horrifying experiences in
Well, the thing
Forge.
is, we have the flood game mode. Like, you have infection, but you don't have the flood aesthetic. Like, I'm hoping we get some map updates where you actually the maps look like flood oriented in
That'd be cool.
infection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be look. I'm really excited for that if that happens. One big exciting thing that really pissed me off that has not been in the game from day one is the plasma pistol is finally getting its EMP return. Like when you fully charge it and you shoot it at a vehicle, it's supposed
Hmm.
to disable the vehicle. And I thought I was going crazy the one day because every time I tried to do it, I was like, why the fuck isn't the vehicle like disabling?
What's going on here?
Clearly it
What
wasn't a
am I
thing in this
doing
game.
wrong?
It lost its ability to do so, apparently. But that's awesome to see there. On top of that, they had quality of life updates, stability, and network improvements. And they announced all this during a live broadcast the other day. It was like an hour long. If
Hmm.
anybody does want to check it out, I will drop the link into the chat here, and you guys can go check that out after the episode or whenever you can. But to round it out here, just a quick update in regards to Game Pass. Star Wars Jedi Survivor became available for console and PC the other day, and it's awesome to see that it's finally entered Game Pass. It actually, if I'm not mistaken, today has been the exact 1 year anniversary since its official release, and I highly recommend this game.
And it's finally stable and able to be played on PC
Yeah,
just in time.
yeah, and it was a 10 out of 10 for me. I know I'm a little bit biased, but it was a really great experience here on the Xbox platform. So go check it out. Moving on though, so we got some updates to Fortnite. This one was really interesting, and it makes me just realize like how sensitive the world really is becoming. Fortnite is adding a new setting that will let players avoid seeing confrontational emotes. So like the infamous Fortnite emote, right? The L and the dancing side to side. If you turn the setting on, you won't be able to see it. And I'm just like, you're telling me there's really people that are really that sensitive over getting emoted? Like, I'm just flabbergasted about this shit. What's your thoughts?
I so I get it. Like, last thing I want to do is get tilted some days when somebody dances on my ass. Like, I play Halo, so
Come
I
on.
get teabagged
Right.
daily. So
We
like,
grew
I
up
get
on that
over it.
shit.
I get the fuck over it some days, but like, it's just one of those things where I'm just like, I thought about it. A lot of people teabag the shit out of me in these games.
Right.
Just,
I mean, come
I
on,
get
man.
over it.
We grew up with the Halo teabagging. We grew up with the Modern
Yeah.
Warfare lobbies. Like you're
And
after
yeah,
their
my
lobbies, you're like,
mom's
"Fuck
been
you, yeah."
around, I hear.
Yeah. So yeah, this is just. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, but I mean, sure, we'll see how often really gets used. Maybe it's good for
Hmm.
kids. I mean, I guess if you're trying to protect kids, maybe because Fortnite is very kid friendly. Like the
Hmm.
aesthetic is very kid oriented. So I could see maybe some benefits behind it, but
Yeah.
it would make me scratch my head. Like, are you serious, guys? Another one that scratched my head, Roger. What's going on with 2K?
All right, 2K faces community backlash after after banning leading WWE 2K 24 creator The creator known as What's the Status, who is known for uploading content that is normally inaccessible to players, who has posted on Twitter to announce that all his uploads have been removed from the game without warning.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful, my man.
That sure is, but that like basically just summed up everything that is going on with this, and I was just like, I can't like I don't know why they would do something like this. Like, if you want your game to
Mhm.
flourish, this guy was bringing a lot of attention to your game, and then you don't even give him a warning about removing the shit. Like, come on, bro. Like, what's going on here?
My man's out.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. And like what he was doing for it was making a lot of great content around this
Mhm.
game. So I'm just hopefully they get this fixed and like he has a permanent like online ban and everything. Like, um, they got to get this. I don't know how many times or how else to say it, but 2K do better. All right, man. So moving on to our next one here. This is some more sad news, man. Because I really like these developers. The developer People Can Fly. They recently had their game Outsiders, Outriders. Sorry, a few years ago. They have
Mhm.
canceled their co-op action RPG game known as Project Dagger. They were planning to self-publish this game after Take Two has dropped it. They canceled it due to reevaluating the scope and the commercial potential of the game. The game was described as a AAA co-op action melee RPG led by the New York studio with at least 50 people. So it's sad to see that publishers weren't too enthused about it. These guys kind of have always made those like mid double A kind of experiences. Cause they made Outriders. They're also known for Gears of War Judgment, which obviously wasn't the best in the series, but it was a different take on on the games.
Mhm.
So like they've made some pretty solid games. They made Bulletstorm. I don't know if you remember that game. That was a lot of
I do
fun
remember
back in the day.
Bulletstorm.
So like these guys are a really good developer. It's just sucks to see. Hey, what's going on? It's V Brew. You must be. I think you're Al, right? I can't tell by your tag, but I think that's who it is. But yeah, man, sad to see. But some more fans are pissed off, Roger.
It feels like the bad news episode here,
It
but
is.
like Escape from Tarkov, fans are angry at a new $250 edition with PvE and pay to win content being released.
Yeah.
Like a 250, like what the fuck? 250 fucking dollars, dude.
Yeah, for a game? For
Yeah,
what?
like what the fuck, dude? Like, does it come with a fucking? Does it come with paying half of my rent for a month? Like my half my mortgage for a month? Like what the fuck?
Yeah, and what's even crazier, like what really pissed him off was like when the game like first came out, they had this like edition of the game, Edge of
Mm-hmm.
Darkness edition, which cost $100 at the time. It was supposed to include the season pass and all future DLC.
Mm-hmm.
But
And this is DLC, but they're not including it.
yeah, it's not included in that $100 edition. If you want this new content, you got to buy the $250 edition now of the game. So it's like,
Mm,
what in the fuck is going on?
Dude, it just feels bad. It feels bad. Everything about it just feels bad.
Yeah, hopefully they can get ahead of this, and this was just a bad PR moment, and they were like, ah, my bad, guys. Let's.
Oops, we done goofed.
We tried to
Like,
pull a
yeah,
fast one
okay.
on you, but clearly you guys caught
You
it.
caught me. Goddamn, dude.
Yeah. So at least we got some good news here with Counter Strike.
Yeah, dude. So Counter-Strike had a major update. And by major, I mean you can now swap hands for your primary hand. If you're left-handed, you can swap the gun to your left hand now. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like a big update, but it honestly is for inclusion and helps with a lot of people who their mouse is on the left side, they orient themselves based on left side, so it's helpful.
Yeah. I like never have thought about it, but I was like,
Hmm.
I was recently playing through the Division a lot, right? And I didn't think
Yeah.
about it. Like you can actually like change the camera angle from like left or right. And I was like, it's more or less the same concept for first person shooter games. You switch the gun from your right hand to your left hand. And I was like, yeah,
Hmm.
it makes it easier too. Like you can approach the situation different because like if you're coming
You
around a
can
corner,
see.
you can actually angle this way if it's a left hand corner, you can angle now this way. And I was like, it just makes sense.
Didn't even think about it.
Right. And the fact that it looks so fluent, like there was a video that I released a showcase and I was like, it just happens instantly. It's not like you go into the menu and you have to click a setting to flip it over. Like, no, like it's a button that happens like it's an in game mechanic that allows you to switch.
Hmm.
And I was like, that shit's perfect.
Next gen.
Yeah, next gen.
Next fucking gen, my man.
All right, man. Let's go ahead and round out our podcast episode with some actually some exciting news here from Bloober Team. Obviously, they're the ones from the game behind the Medium a few years ago. They're also making Silent Hill 2 remake, but they have confirmed that they are working with Take-Two to develop a brand game based on a new IP known as Project C. So we don't have too much information on that one. But this next one here has me really excited because they also have Project R, which is slated for a 2025 release. And this is based on a Skybound Entertainment IP, which is owned by Robert Kirkman, who made like The Walking Dead and stuff. But I'm a huge fan of one of his other comic books known as Oblivion Song. And if they make a video game based off of this comic book, oh man, it's fucking chef's kiss. Like it's a really fucking dope idea, and I really hope this is really what it is. And Bloober Team, I think, would be the perfect developer for them as well. So we'll see, man. Really exciting there. All right, man. That is everything that we got for you guys this week. It is a really short episode. It was not much going on in the gaming world other than apparently sad news this week, but we do want to thank everyone who did come through and check us out live today here on Twitch, and anyone who does check us out later on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever else you may listen. But Roger, where can the community find you at?
You can find me in the same place I'm always at. I'm on Discord. That's where I'm hanging out. That's where I'm playing games. And that's where we'll be right after this playing Halo.
Hell yeah, dude. Everyone, you can check me out at Twitter at Mr. _. Facebook is Vic Brubacher for any questions, concerns, if you want to come on the show. And of course, if you want to game or party up, hit me on Xbox at xneverspacechillin. And I do stream over on my Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Never Chillin, where I'm currently playing through Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. And actually, I will probably be streaming our Halo Infinite play. We'll be playing until about like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So maybe just stop on by and check out the games, man. But we want to thank everyone again. And until next week, peace.
Restart podcast.